Welcome to episode 16 of the Silver Savage podcast. This episode is brought to you by Masada Tactical. Want to learn how to defend yourself and get in the best shape of your life in the process? Come try a class at Masada Tactical, the only place to learn authentic Israeli-based tactics in Maryland. All classes are taught by graduates of Israeli and American Special Operations and Combat Units and sworn law enforcement officers. Masada Tactical has classes for civilians and agencies. They also offer a variety of specialty seminars like first aid, firearms, and even SEER. Visit training.masadatactical.com for a list of all the classes and seminars and use the code SILVERSAVAGE10, one word, for 10% off when you sign up for the next class. This episode is also brought to you by Combat Iron Apparel. It is the only apparel brand we recommend and the only one we wear ourselves. It is made of the highest quality blends and designed specifically for fitness-minded patriots. If you want comfort while flying your colors and beliefs, visit combatironapparel.com and use the code SILVERSAVAGE10 to get 10% off your next purchase. I'm very excited about this episode. On this one, we have Justin Melnick. Justin is a police officer from Indiana and plays the role of Brock on the CBS Hit show SEAL Teams. He is also the actual owner of his canines, Dita, the air missiles, and Pepper, both stars of their own rights. In this episode, we talk about Justin's path, parenthood, but also about the state of policing in America and how we can help veterans more. Here's Justin Melnick.
Talking so much shit during your phone call. You couldn't even hear me.
Well, you know what? We do that on purpose. What's up with the stash? I like it.
What's up?
Your mustache. It's a good look.
Thanks, man. You know, every now and then I get bored. When I'm not controlled on what I have to look like, I like to have fun with it. Handlebars, asshole mustaches.
I just
whatever
said
I can do to keep it interesting.
Hold on. What's an asshole mustache?
It's a little bit shorter and a little bit tighter.
I don't get the reference with the asshole, though.
So I'm Jewish and I get a very specific connotation.
No, not the Charlie Chaplin, like the fucking super straight edge motors cop type mustache.
Oh. There you go.
The guy that writes you up for doing 60 and a 55.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's typically Steve that would be that asshole too.
No, never. I got a rule. I never write tickets for anything that I would do myself, which limits me drastically. So
I'm the same way, man. Listen, I'll give people warnings. The one thing that I would jam someone up for, never mind. But I agree. Policing, you cannot be a hypocrite. You either have to treat it the way you would do something, which is really important. And I think that's what separates good cops from annoying cops.
Absolutely.
Guys that aren't whatever. Anyway, what are we doing today, guys?
So we just got it. So I wanna kind of preface this. So I was at SHOT Show this past year, and I'm walking the floor, and I see you with the dog, and I believe, I can't remember if it was Dita or Pepper. Can't remember which one you had with you at SHOT Show.
Probably Dita.
Yep. And I came over. We're fans. Me and my fiance. We actually have a Saturday morning tradition. We make shakshuka and we watch a show. And I approached you, and what you did is you read my name. You asked me where I'm from. I said Israel, and then you blurbed in Hebrew. How am I doing? And that kind of put me off balance for a second. I'm like, that's awesome. And you gave me this, which I appreciate.
Yeah, man.
And then we were interviewing for a podcast Chris Straub, who makes my knife.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris mentioned that he was making one for you, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see if Justin wants to be on the show. I feel like he's going to connect with our listeners. We have a lot in common. All three of us are in law enforcement. All three of us are tacticians, and we're all trying to do something good for the greater community. And I figured it would be awesome to have you and just chat for a little bit and see.
Well, I appreciate it being here, man.
So you still cop in Indiana? Do you still police? I'm losing you.
Fair stuff, community outreach, school visits. The way I like to say it is shaking babies and kissing hands.
Love it. And do you use your canines when you do that?
Yeah, we bring the dogs into the schools. We do dog awareness for K through 6. Then we'll do some cool demos for the older kids. listen, being on a TV show is really cool, and it's fun to do that project. But honestly, like, the goal since day one was, how do we take this and transition it to building our community better? How do we take this gift that's been bestowed on me and transform it into something that can help build the relationship between the police and the community, inspire kids to want to follow down that footpath of public service, whether it be fire, police, paramedic, military. What can we do? What can we do as a department to help our community better and use this platform in the show? So
that's awesome. So you actually the second canine handler we having. We had Mark Tepin. He's with Alpharetta in Georgia. He has his dog Mattis, and he's kind of an Instagram phenomenon. I don't know, they have like 1 million followers, but
there's a dog more than him.
Yeah, nobody knows Mark, but everybody knows Mattis. Well, that's awesome. So how often do you get to police now, since you're now on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, I go home as much as possible. It's before getting married and having kids, it was a lot easier to just jump on a plane, fly there for 4 days, 5 days, play with my guns, sleep in my bed, hang out with my friends, do my job. Now it's just kind of at the ability of scheduling. I try and go back every year for our annual fundraiser for Operation Christmas, which is in July. And I'll go back there and help raise money so that we can buy all the underprivileged kids in the community presents. And then I'll generally go back for Operation Christmas. I'll fly in the morning, take all the kids to Walmart, do the shopping list with them, with the rest of the department, and get out on a flight that night. And then whenever I've got to come back for state mandated trainings, it's hard, man. I'll tell you, I never want to be that guy that walks away from a job just because I've got something a little bit more glamorous or a little bit better or a little bit cooler. These people, the dudes, the men and the women that I've worked with for almost 12 years back there in Indiana, they're my family. They're my brothers. They're my sisters. There's no amount of money or fame or power that should ever change who you are. And that's what drives me to go back.
That's awesome. And Steve and I both had the opportunity of teaching in Indiana. We were taught at the ISOA, the Indiana SWAT Officer Association, several years. So we
Did
like
you
all
do
the
it
top
down
codes.
at MTAC?
We did it initially was at Fort Wayne a few years, and then it went into Indianapolis. This past year was outside Indianapolis. I can't remember. It was a different hotel, and they just went back to downtown. And then, coincidentally enough, my fiance is from her family's all in Indiana. They're in Fishers. So
beautiful. It's a nice area up in Fishers.
Yep. So we spent a good amount of time there. So I don't know. Maybe we'll try to be there for Operation Christmas and come and say hi.
Would love that.
That's awesome. So when I picked a lot of stuff, just kind of stalking you online a little bit. You married. You have 2 kids, right? One is a fairly newborn.
3 now. 3. 2 step kids and a newborn.
Okay. How old is the newborn?
He'll be a year on Sunday.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday. Yeah, I'm dealing with a 6-month-old right now. So it's a fun age. And then between policing and going to the show and getting this opportunity, which I want to talk to you a little bit how you got into that, you work for Cry Precision, correct?
I worked for Caleb to start privately and then ended up going into Cry Precision for the company for probably about 2.5 years on
Cool.
like an official level.
And is that how you got hooked with the show? Was that part of the connection?
No, the connection was I knew Mark Owen from when he was still on the teams, and No Easy Day. He wrote No Easy Day, and when the show came up, the show was his show. So he asked me to come out with the dog, Tyler Gray, who I also knew for years, was working on it. And I didn't even know that the two knew each other. It was wild. It's so weird. They both started calling me about a show. And I'm like, what are the chances that it's the same show? Like these guys, So ended up there with the dog, and then the showrunner at the time said, "Oh, you should just be the dog handler." Instead of, I guess Sonny Quinn was originally supposed to be the dog handler on the show back in the day. So it made me the dog handler, and then by the end of the pilot episode, the creator of the show, Ben Caval, named my character. And then when the show got picked up, I had to talk to my boss about what my options were, whether I could. He said, "Go to Hollywood." We only thought it was going to be 6 months. It was only supposed to be 12 episodes. So 6 months turned into 6 years.
Yeah, you're on the sixth season, right?
Say it again.
So we just went into the sixth season. Am I correct?
Correct.
That's awesome.
That's two officers now that we've interviewed that are actors, which is pretty cool. And I've always said that I think police officers make the best actors, because you think your entire career is essentially you have to act. You have to be sad with people. You have to be happy with people. You have to remain calm when you're scared out of your ass. You know what I mean? So I've always said I think police officers make the best actors, because you have the life experience, every emotional roller coaster, out there. So it's easy to get into role.
You just nailed it. A good actor has, life experience is so much as a part of it, because if you're playing a different character and you have no concept of who that character is or what they're about, that's why it's so easy for me to play a Navy SEAL, because I spent so much time with all those guys for 10 years, 8 years before this role, being around them, picking up on their mannerisms, the way they dress, what motivates them, how they would handle certain situations, and can apply that to my character. But with law enforcement, you deal with all walks of life. You see all walks of life at their best, at their worst, when they're lying, when they're scared, when they're being honest. And, if you're cataloging that mentally in your mind, which most guys do because it just provides experience for future encounters, you can draw from that and really develop a cool character if you want to act.
Yeah, I'm also finding that the lines between policing and law and military are getting a little more blurry nowadays. We have military doing more peacekeeping, policing type work, and police officers becoming more paramilitary. So I think making the transition between one entity to the other is a lot easier than it used to be. I think it was a lot more separate or distinct a few years back.
My world always revolved around SWAT guys, tactics, running around to different agencies, different countries, different teams, both military and law enforcement, watching the way they did business and trying to come up with better tactics for my agency. So, I've always lived in that kind of paramilitary police world. So you're 100% right. It's really, really, really similar.
That's awesome. So in my stalking of you to kind of come up with, stuff to talk, I read somewhere that you had an accident falling off of an helicopter about a year ago.
Technically, I didn't fall off a helicopter because I never made it to the helicopter. I was on a hoist. I was getting hoisted up with my canine, and we had a catastrophic equipment failure. And we burned into the ground from about 26 feet.
Ooh,
which is pretty lucky because it should have been 280 feet. So
I guess it's all about perspective. So 26 is still a big fall.
When you talk about hoisting and spy lining and helicopter work, honestly, I don't know anyone in the country that logs as many hours as me on it with a dog, just because I don't have one agency helicopter and I only get my training quarterly or once a year. I'm on everybody's helicopters across the country, using it for fast roping, hoisting, spy lining, or the law enforcement equivalent, short hauling. I have thousands of hours on helicopters. I probably have 500 to 600 hoists, probably 500 to 600 short hauls, like a lot. I can't even count. Hours of rotor time. What happened to me was a 1 in 20 million. It's rare. I only know one other person that's ever had a catastrophic equipment failure on a hoist. I mean, that stuff is safe. It's really safe.
You need to play the lotto, man.
What's up?
So you need to buy a lotto ticket if that's the case.
No, I've already used up all my good luck. I ended up in Hollywood, didn't die from that accident. Had some other accidents and training throughout the years that I probably should have been paralyzed or not walking, and managed to skate by with just a couple broken ribs. You know, we do dangerous shit. We're pushing the envelope every time we go out there. It's safe, but there's also a very large element of risk. It's one of those things that things generally, small things don't go wrong. If something goes wrong, it's catastrophic. But you know, it's what I do. It's who I am. And just because something's a little bit scary or I'm uncomfortable with it makes me need to do it more. I need to do it until I'm comfortable doing it, and then do it another 5 times.
Yeah. There's something to be said about being put out of your element, right? About your out of your safe, not safety, but comfort zone.
Always.
Yeah, that's really appealing to people like us. I think that's what separates, you know, our mindset and the majority of the population.
That's how we evolve as human beings.
Yep.
If we just lived life as comfortable, I wouldn't be at the gym every day for an hour. I'd be sitting on my sofa, drinking a Coca-Cola and eating some pretzels. You know,
Yeah.
And that would be really nice, man. Love to watch TV shows and catch up, but that's not who guys like us are. We go to the gym, we pound it out till we're about to puke. Then we take care of all the stuff we got to take care of. We spend time with our families, live each day like it's our last, and enjoy life.
100%.
And we're better people for it, I think.
I agree 100%. And you know, not only are we better people for it, I think the community as a whole is. I mean, can you imagine a beef that I have being an instructor for many police academies, and I travel around the country talking to a lot of agencies, seeing these police officers that are out of shape, unkempt, you know, like, you know, you're a disgrace to the job, the profession, but B, you cannot do your job if you're in that state. So it's sad to see.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a reality we have to deal with, you know, especially nowadays. Over the past couple of years, standards have been lowered. Accountability has been raised. You know, they've created a job that sane people shouldn't want to become cops right now.
Right.
They shouldn't want to do the job. Like, you know, listen, we're already there. It's an obligation to our team, to our community, to be there for them and to be there for other cops, and to help out however we can by providing the experiences or the information that we have to help them do their job better. But, you know, it's like no sane person would want to become a cop right now, with cops getting thrown in jail for doing their job.
Yep. It's sad.
You know, with lack of training.
Right, exactly. So when agencies kind of figure out, where am I going to cut because budgets are tight, training is usually the first one to go, and that's
ammo's expensive, let's shoot less.
Right. So let me ask you this. So I usually leave that more towards the end, but since you already alluded to it, you're obviously someone that we would consider a savage between your police work and what you do for a living. What is your kind of like routine? So you go to the gym. Do you spend time shooting? Do you do any defensive tactics, anything like that?
So generally my mornings start, I wake up, kiss my wife, kiss my baby, go feed cows, break dogs, feed dogs, kennel dogs, work out, go back to working dogs when I'm not filming, go back to working dogs, ranch work, maintenance, stuff like that. And then cook dinner for everybody and go to sleep as soon as the sun sets. Wake up and do it all over again.
Well, it sounds like you're getting your physical fitness element on top of the gym, just between farm work and so forth.
Oh, man. Probably hauled like 2,000 pounds of grain today in 70-pound bags. That's a good workout.
That is a good workout. That's a lot of grain.
Range. I go to the range. Listen, I used to love shooting. I used to love all of that. I've kind of lost the allure of it, but listen, it's like, it's part of my job. I need to be proficient at it. I'll go to the range twice a month. And, and I'll go there, and it's very deliberate, the drills I run. I run concealed draws. I run duty rig draws. I usually end the day with a 1 through 5 drill, where you set up 3 targets, 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, 4 shot, 5 shots. I'll usually end the day on a 1 through 5 drill, run plate racks, and do some reload drills, in between it all. So I'll work a plate rack, 10 yards on the buzzer, draw, engage 1 target, reload, slide lock reload, engage a second target, reholster, admin load, and then work that down. So I'm getting my draws and reloads in on a small, 8-inch circle at 10 to 12 yards. Because, it's all about efficiency, and, sitting out and working, for 1,000 rounds is just a waste at this point. I'll get myself down to, maybe 100, 150 rounds in a day, but I will check every box of what I need to do.
Yeah, I'm a big. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
No, I was gonna say, it's funny you mentioned that you kind of lost the allure of shooting, and there's always this misconception in civilians, right? If you're a cop, military, whatever it may be, that you're a gun expert, or you're a gun nut and stuff like that. And I'm kind of similar with you, where I was trained as a sniper, I was a competitive shooter, this and that, but for me, it's a tool. It's a tool I have to be efficient in, for the work that I do. And, people start asking me questions like, are you, what's this, what's that? They automatically want to talk guns. And I'm like, I don't want to talk guns. I'd rather talk woodwork or crocheting, than guns.
Yeah.
But it is a tool that we have to be proficient in. I think every officer or military needs to be proficient in. Unfortunately, again, like you guys mentioned before, that training isn't there. But there's always this misconception that, we're gun nuts because we're tactical operators or police officers or military. And that's just not always the case.
No, I mean, listen, and if it is, great, whatever
Right.
floats your boat, there were times that and I could tell you what my muzzle velocity was out of every single one of my guns, depending on what grain bullet I was pushing. Those days are over.
Do you find out the stuff that you do on the show kind of carries over, or you bring it back with you to whenever you do the training or even policing? Because they're 2 different sets of tactics.
Yeah, so we don't really train on the show. Like, all of our actors are fantastic. We can hit a center fed room or a corner fed room, and they'll know exactly where to go in the room, but we've never trained them. So, they couldn't tell you the difference between a center fed and a corner fed room. They couldn't tell you why they're going to their points of domination, but they do know where their points of domination are. They do know their threat matrix. They're checking, bad guys, innocents, open doors, dark space, or dead space, and they're knowing what to scan for and stuff like that. But other than that, like, they know the funk, but they don't know why they're doing the funk. So they're effectively faking the funk really well.
Well, if I remember correctly, at least at the beginning, I believe some of your teammates, right, they also come with some tactical background, very much like yourself, right? So there are people that knew the job.
So the show is really good with veteran support. They have placed veterans in every department of the show, which is incredible. We've got veteran executive producer. We have veterans directors. We have veteran producers and writers. We have veterans and stunts. Every single one of the stunts guy is a former special operations operator. I'm the only one there that wasn't in special operations, and then Tyler Gray was from Delta, and then we have veterans in hair and makeup, veterans in electric department, veterans in props, veterans in transpo, veterans in gaffers and camera. I mean, they've really gone above and beyond to helping create opportunities for our heroes and transition out of the military into Hollywood.
That's great.
You couldn't ask for a more efficient crew running a movie in a set than a veterans who've done it, real world. I mean, that's brilliant in my eyes.
I think you'll see a lot of shows and movies start taking our model and trying to apply it because it really has worked well.
Yeah, and it shows, as a veteran, obviously of the Israeli military, but still a veteran, a police officer. I'm sure you guys are the same. You watch something like, what the hell are they doing? This will never work. You can't do it this way or that way. I really didn't have those moments watching SEAL teams. I mean, for the most part.
No, you don't. Every movie I've ever seen in every show, it's kind of like, it's so good. The story, the writing, the acting is so good, but they miss the equipment. They miss the tactics. And there's an art form to it too, because we're not idiots. We realize that our adversaries, near peer and booger eater, are all watching clips of this show on YouTube. So there's no, we don't ever expose any SOPs or TTPs that can get guys hurt downrange. Like, we're very cognizant, when it comes to, hey, Pepper, come here. Oh, house. Give it to me.
Can we say hi?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Come here, pause. Right here. No, pause. Turn around. Oh, shit. Fucking Malin laws, bro. Yeah, so they do a really good job, and when it comes to the gear, I do all the gear for the show, and it's 50%. I'd say it's 80 to 90% authentic to what guys are using, and then 10% a test space for me to develop new gear for the industry, or to evaluate gear for the industry, or stuff that I believe that guys will be going to in the next 5 to 10 years. And then from there, I find it to be incredibly realistic just watching it. I always joke with everyone at work is I'm the show's biggest fan, because I love, not even watching myself or watching people I know, but I just love the storylines. I love the way these actors all to me represent America's superheroes, and I think they do such a fucking good job of doing it.
Right.
That it's enjoyable for me to watch and inspiring. So you mentioned
basically, so you're saying like the show itself, besides portraying the heroes and what they do, the equipment itself, I mean, is basically like test run for those in the industry of equipment and uniforms as well, is what you're saying? Like, do they send you guys stuff and whatnot, or?
Sometimes, most of the time, like, I've got really strong relationships with a lot of industry people just from my years of working in the industry. My goals back in, from like 2009 to 2015 when I started the show, or 2017, was really kind of updating domestic law enforcement with equipment that JSOC was using, just because we got really lucky that we didn't get lucky that there was no real terrorist attacks here in America. We had agencies working diligently around the clock preventing them. But I truly wholeheartedly believe that there was going to be massive jihad style attacks here in America. And the concept was to try and equip all of our brothers and sisters with the training and the equipment that our elite units in the military had, to keep them safe and help thwart any plots here domestically.
Which funny story. You mentioned Cry before. I'm from Brooklyn, New York originally. I know Cry's out of Brooklyn, so I'm kind of, proud of that. But when our team switched to Cry uniforms, you're talking about transitioning to that tier 1 type product. It was a pair of Cry pants that literally saved my ass from being torn off by a police canine dog.
Yeah.
It was on a SWAT call out. The dog was initiated. They thought the guy had a gun. Handler pushed the dog in behind cover, where I was crouched down with a rifle, and the dog latched literally right onto my left ass cheek. And if it wasn't for the Cry ripstop pants the dog's teeth got caught in them and it couldn't readjust. It wouldn't tear. So that
what agency are you with?
Was that? I'd rather not say it because I don't have permission to say it, but it is in Central Maryland. But it was literally a pair of Cry pants that I can say literally saved my ass. Literally.
I thought it was your Puerto Rican behind this whole time. That was.
The meaty nature of my Hispanic ass had something to do with it too. But those Cry pants, I still have them too. They don't fit me anymore. I've gotten a little more dad bod-ish, in my time. But dad bod saved lives. But those pants really saved me. So having that, like you were saying, that extra equipment that you see special operators use. And I know that's a funny, stupid example of it, but it made a difference because if we were wearing what we were wearing before, which I won't name, that dog would have taken a chunk out of my ass.
Oh yeah, 100%. Their stuff is top notch.
So I figured I'd share that story. So if Cry ever listens, hey, I'm an advocate for Cry.
Being Israeli, right, and obviously looking at terrorism a little bit different since we've been dealing with it for the past, 75 years. I certainly agree with you, Justin, in the sense that not only does it's coming, I believe it's already here, and we've seen pieces of it here and there. We've seen obviously 9/11, but everything after that. So I definitely agree with the thought process that we need to equip our officers with better gear and better tools. It's hard working against the public perception and the optics because you get all this outcry of why is police? What do they need? Forget about just the uniform. Like, why do you need a bear?
Well, I think after the fall of America for what's been happening in all the major cities, I think that pendulum will swing back. I think people will realize why they need police, why police need to be trained better and equipped better, because people's lives are getting ripped upside down right now. I know in Los Angeles, it's terrifying.
Yeah, all over. So here in Maryland as well. So Justin, what's kind of in the plans for you? What are you working on nowadays?
SEAL team. We're just getting ready for season 6, and hopefully that movie that they announced. That's it right now. I'm going to go down to the Texas Tacticals Officers Association and do a dog demo.
Oh, cool.
Demonstrate capabilities of air assaulting dogs in with fast roping them.
Nice.
So that should be fun. And just get ready to go back to work 18 hours a day for 5 days a week and make this awesome TV show.
Awesome. Hey, if you ever need an extra, I could be like a supply clerk or something like that. You let me know.
Easy days, man. We love having real cops and people come onto set and do cameos.
I'll be more than happy. And I'm Hispanic, so I got attitude, I got pizzazz, whatever you need.
Let me see your snap routine. Oh, you're hired. Oh, there was one too many on that. It should only be 3. Take 2. Come on, take 2.
I'll give you 2. How about this?
Again with the 4.
Still doing 4.
3.
I can't help it. I'm just that awesome. I can't contain it.
He's one better. So usually before we let our guests go, Steve takes a second and puts them in the hot seat.
The hot seat.
Let's go.
So you're gonna get put in the hot seat. I got 4 questions for you. All right, and they're all pertinent to you. All right, in the sense of your background and what you've done. All right, your first question. You got 5 seconds to name 3 movies with dogs, and your time starts now.
Lassie, Max, and Dog.
Oh,
Dog. Oh, that's the new one.
Yeah,
that's the new one. Good save. You had a second left. I was looking for more classics like Cujo, but whatever. You got that one. Ding, ding, ding.
That's a good much faster than Lassie.
I know that was an extreme difference there. He went Lassie. Lassie's kind of sad though. I'm still traumatized from that movie.
Whatever. That dog was awesome. That dog was that was the dog version of Walker Texas Ranger right there.
Yeah, yes, it was. But it's still sad. All right. Question 2, and this is for Navy SEALs. All right, you can go as far back in time till its inception. 2 nicknames for Navy SEAls.
Like the individual operators?
Yeah, just for Navy SEALs in general. What are nicknames for Navy SEALs?
Frogmen.
That's one.
And I think Vietnam, weren't they the devils with green eyes?
Close. Men with green faces.
No.
So we'll give it to you. We'll give you a half.
So 2 for 2.
You're 2 for 2. All right. Question 3. This is a movie reference since you are an actor, all right, and hopefully making a movie. The 1990s original Navy SEAL movie, all right? Charlie Sheen finished this line, all right? Trust me with your life, but not your
wife.
That's part of it.
True.
But not your something and your something.
Wife and money.
There you go. Trust me with your life, but not your money or your wife. You were 3 for 3. All right, last question. Go ahead.
I got a movie quote for you.
Okay.
You're an actor, Gary. Act.
Where is that from? I'm a foreigner. I'm Israeli. I'm allowed to get away with that.
Team America World Police.
Oh, yes. Rory,
I couldn't follow up the rest of that sentence because we're on live.
All right, your last question. This is a bit of a history question. I love history. I major in history. The alleged first line of duty death from a municipal police officer in the United States of America. How did he die in the line of duty?
Oh, God.
But think way back when.
Fell off a horse?
Holy crap! He got it! You got it! He fell off a horse. That's awesome.
Riding horses is dangerous.
Yes,
I think you're the first person to be like clear across the board. 4 for 4.
Well, I guess someone gets a gold star today.
That's awesome, man.
Listen, if our listeners take anything from this this talk with you, from what you've done, what you do, you work with veterans, what is one thing that you would like for them to take away?
Life is short. It can disappear for no reason whatsoever in a flash. I'd say live every day like it's your last. Treat everybody with kindness. Treat everybody the way you'd want them to treat your child. And don't say no to opportunities unless it's immoral or illegal. Say yes. If it means you get to sleep a little bit less, if it means you got to spend a little bit of money you don't have, say yes, because we get one life. So do good, be helpful, be kind.
Amen.
Amen.
Justin, if people want to follow you, I know Dita has her own page. You have your own page. Does Pepper have her own page?
Of course.
So where can they find you?
Instagram, Justin Melnick. I don't know.
Easy. I like it, very creative.
I don't really get it. Instagram takes up too much time as it is that I don't think I could have any other platforms.
I will tell you that though. I after we got off the conversation with Chris, and I said, listen, I would like to talk to Justin. It's a guy, just how humble and nice you were when I ran into you at Chacho, which, by the way, I don't know where you know Hebrew from, or at least that one phrase. But I'm like, you know what? I'd really like to chat with him. So I sent you that message on Instagram, and I put my phone down, and you already replied. And it was fast. It was instantaneous. You were down to earth, and I really
perfect timing. I had my phone in my hand, and I saw the message.
That's all it comes down to, right? Timing. That's everything in life.
That's all it comes down to, man, is timing. Life is all about timing.
Well,
thank you guys so much for having me on. It was great rapping with y'all. Talk to Chris about the knives we're releasing for charity.
Okay, we'll do.
And the Bravo 5 knife with him, which will be really cool.
Sweet.
And he posted a picture of you already with, is it that knife that's on your kit?
I don't know what the picture is.
I don't know. He said he was working on a project for you, a pokey stabby thing. His words exactly.
We like pokey stabby things. Listen, we got to find cool ways to raise money for charity.
Yeah, but the technical term, pokey stabby thing.
I'm good with that. That's lies for me. No, he's cool, man. It's a veteran-owned company. He makes great quality blades, and he's down to donate proceeds to charity. So it's a no-brainer in my boat to do a project.
Yeah, the veteran community needs to support the veteran community, especially the veteranpreneurs that are starting business, and that's something BK and I have experienced and learned. You really can't. You don't want to. When you're a veteranpreneur, you don't want to deviate from that community. It can be very harmful because we have an unwritten code with each other, and when you seek outside of that, as BK and I know, that code gets violated. They don't understand what we've been through, what we do, and the trust that we have in each other. Whether we've worked together or not, we understand each other. Those of us as first responders and veterans. So it's very, very, very important to support that community and help that community.
Yeah, no, it really is super important to give back to the people that have sacrificed so much over the last 20 years. The amount of birthdays combined, anniversaries, siblings' weddings, it's, I don't really think about the cost of war and the sacrifice of war of going to combat because, it's until shit gets really bad, it's a good time. You're with your buddies. It's like a hunting trip, but
right.
When shit gets bad, it gets horrible and heartbreaking. But, you think about the sacrifice of missing your kids grow up, your loved ones, all those moments that are gone, they can't be replaced because.
Yep.
So that's, that sacrifice that commands so much respect. I'm willing to sacrifice all of that for the greater good of our country. So that's why I do whatever I can for these organizations that are there for them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin.
Guys, I got a tomahawk that's about this thick. I got to go get on the grill.
Enjoy that. I'm gonna go eat my salad.
It's gonna be a 2-hour cook on the grill, man. It's big.
That's awesome.
Don't forget, I'm your next supply clerk for the next season. Just hit me up. or the mess, whatever.
Have a good one. Be safe.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
We'll see you, man.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this latest episode of the Silver Savage podcast. Please go ahead and give our podcast a like, share the link with a friend, and help us spread the word. You can follow us on social media as well. Instagram handle is silver_savage45. You can also find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and our YouTube channel where you can watch all these episodes videos as well. More unique content, merchandising, and events are coming soon too, so make sure to follow.